So I'm here with Todd Litwiniuk from Litwiniuk Company. They do personal injury law. It's a rather unique business. It's a law firm that they've managed to scale unconventionally in their industry, build an amazing culture, including winning awards for your culture. So tell us a little bit about what Litwiniuk and Company does.
Well, we're a proud Alberta business. After 44 years, we still help our clients who've been involved in accidents and take care of their legal work and their paperwork and take the worry away from them so they can get back to their lives. It's all about protecting their money, their happiness, and their health. And we want to make sure that an injury accident doesn't get in the way of that.
What sets Litwiniuk and Company apart from other personal injury lawyers?
I'd say a non-traditional legal culture. So picture a TV show where you've got your traditional legal culture where the lawyers make all the decisions and the lawyers are bosses and they run the day-to-day and they tell everybody how it goes. Our office is all about culture and all about making sure that our team is involved in not only the day-to-day operations, but the planning for the year, the quarters, and the years into the future, and having their say in what we do in a business sense and how we project as a culture or a customer service centric business.
So your father started the firm when you were quite young, but you started working in it at a young age. Tell us about how you started and what your first job was.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, I've done everything from filing to getting coffees, to cleaning the toilets, to right up to recently, obviously for most of my career, negotiating a lot of settlements and on behalf of injured clients, and up to now where I do mainly visionary work and CEO type work. I guess if I had to choose one, I'd probably say it would be filing. That probably would have been the first job that I was given. Something easy. Here, Todd, go put this in the bin. You little kid.
So when did you decide at what point that you wanted to follow in your father's steps and become a lawyer?
That wasn't. I always admired my dad. My dad's, he's my mentor. He's the guy that I look up to, the guy that's taught me all about business more than the law. So I've always kind of followed his business acumen. And kind of followed his advice that way and do things a lot of the same ways that he does them. Really, law came late. I think you always resist as a child your path that your dad chooses for you. And it wasn't that he necessarily, said, hey, you've definitely got to be a lawyer, but I definitely resisted the thought and the idea. And it wasn't until probably 3/4 of the way through my undergrad career that I thought, this kind of makes sense. And I'm close with my family and we're a tight-knit family and we work well together and we have the same values and business ideas. And I thought, look, this makes perfect sense for me.
So do you think there was factors that played into your family getting along better and working together better? Because I know a lot of businesses, especially small family businesses, the kids have no interest in taking over. If they do end up working with their parents, they don't always get along and siblings don't get along. So what do you think led to the success in that area?
I think, we always had a really tight family, but I think that, due to circumstances, my parents had to put the business first in a sense. And so that's what really led the entire family to the office. All three of us in some capacity spent 3/4 of our lives at the office in sort of a mom and pop shop setting. I mean, I remember, 14 years on, my sister and I are 14 years apart. When she was a baby, there she was in a bassinet next to my mom's desk while my mom was working. So it was always very office centric. My mom, good or bad, my mom didn't come home till late along with my dad most evenings. So it was all about the office. And we just adapted along with it.
That's great.
And it became part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So throughout your career, you were working at the firm and you eventually transitioned into more of a management role. I believe you said around 2010.
Yeah.
Was that around the same time that you joined EO?
It was. Yeah. EO had a really close friend who was a long-standing physician in the city here who has multidisciplinary clinics. And he was actually a part of EO and suggested to me that, if you really want to get around like-minded people and grow your business and learn more about business than you ever had, Entrepreneurs Organization is something that you should check out. So it was in late 2010 that I ended up joining EO. Been a member ever since.
You're the president of the local chapter now.
I was the president last year. My term ended at the end of June, 2019, and it was a fantastic and successful year. And I've now passed on the baton to someone else, but it was a great experience.
Cool. So what value did you find in EO?
I think the number one value is, as I mentioned before, like-minded people. People are talking about the same problems that you have and how it sort of intermixes with their personal, family, and business life, because it's all interconnected, right? I guess interconnected is sort of a better way to put it. Mm-hmm. And how do these people cope with those areas of their lives while trying to run and grow a business? And so it was great to meet people like that talked about the same things that I talked about and had the same challenges that I had. And I really fed off that. And that's how it really, until I eased into it and figured out how to put, best business practices into use, it was really mostly the friendships that got that started and the relationships and the networking.
It seems like traditionally law firms don't normally scale the way you guys did. What made you decide to scale the way you did, and where did the knowledge on how to do that come from?
Yeah, you've probably heard this from other entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs just love a challenge. Mm-hmm. And when people tell you that you can't scale a law firm of our type the way that we did, we're like, yeah, we'll show you. So that's where it all started, the challenge aspect of it, and knowing that we could do that. The second thing is that we knew that there was a huge need to give a greater service to a greater number of people in the area of the law that we do. And that's what really drove us to, treat it like a normal business, put in the processes and systems that are required to run a business properly, and then take off from there. And the scalability part of it and how we learned to scale basically came from our EO friends and the teachings of a lot of great business gurus within EO. EO's been around for a long time, so there's a lot of great programs that you can attend within the organization worldwide. We've been to New York, we've been to Boston, we've been to visiting peer firms and peer businesses all over the United States. I've been to Australia through EO. The chances to go to these different countries, meet different people, meet different business owners, and figure out how they scaled really was the catalyst for the growth of our organization.
What was your biggest challenge in scaling?
I think our biggest challenge in scaling was hiring great people, and molding the culture. And I think the two go hand in hand, right? You need great people to build a great culture, and you need a great culture to attract awesome people. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the biggest challenge. And when we shifted from sort of that mom and pop sort of organization and old school law firm to what we have now, it was really a process. It was something that we had to say, okay, here's what we want for our core values. Here's what we really want to be about in the future. And then it took a while for that culture shift to happen. But what we really wanted at the end of the day was, a group of A players that were driven by our core values and the purpose of what we do, which is there's a lot of purpose in what we do and giving back to people who've been injured. And those people could work alongside us to build something great.
You talked about building systems and processes. Did you have any difficulty making time outside of running the business and being a lawyer to build those systems and processes?
It was more of a challenge to start with. I was lucky in the sense that I had, what my parents had already built to work off of. So there was some of that in existence. It wasn't a complete mom and shop pop with no rules of any kind. And of course, it's a law firm, so we had some rules. And then I was lucky enough to have my brother, who's a great business mind. He's got an MBA and a great business, sort of sense. It was awesome to have him start out as a partner. So with the two of us, we went from that point to sort of building the people around us. I think we started naturally with a COO. And from that point in time, we just built people around us that were a strong team, and now up to this point where we've got a strong leadership and management group.
Great. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Did you find pushback from some of the older members of the team when you started to change the culture?
Absolutely. There was no doubt about it. It was very hard. A lot of people had to come and go as a result of that. Look, I'm used to, I've worked in a traditional law firm my whole life, and that's not, law firms don't do what you're doing. And this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And why would we have this type of culture? You're asking too much of me to do my job and contribute to the firm. But we had a way that we wanted to do things, and we wanted high performers and A players to come in there and lock arms with us and perform at a high level, but also perform at a high cultural level. We've got 2 rules in the office, 2 basic rules with respect to people that work with us. And that is you've got to be at a high performing level culture-wise, right? And you've got to be at a high performing level performance-wise, somebody who can do their job and make a difference to the firm. And if you got those 2 things, then you're in that sort of A player category. If you're without one, you can't stay.
Did you ever doubt yourself when you're, trying to weed out the people that weren't a cultural fit? Was it difficult for you?
Definitely, it was a process and at times trying, but I think that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. You get those trying times, you get those times where you make mistakes or times where you have to turn a corner or pivot and go in another direction. And that's all about being an entrepreneur. So I never lost faith, and I always, thought that it would work out. Mm-hmm. And it was just a matter of staying the course. And, especially when we started scaling, and we had a plan, 3 to 5, 10 years out, we constructed a plan with a purpose, and then we broke it down into quarterly priorities and daily priorities, and we followed that plan. And we said, look, we're going to stay the course. We're going to do this for 1 or 2 years and see what happens. And we never looked back.
How much did you scale from 2010 to 2015, and then 2015 to now?
Yeah, 2010 to 2015 was, there was a little bit of scale there. I'd say it was smaller in the sense that we were still sort of finding our feet, and we were looking at a scenario where, what do we do here? Do we need a business coach? Do we need a consultant? Do we need to hire someone to, teach us how to be better lawyers? Like, what is it that we need? We didn't need that, but obviously as a joke. But, it took a while until we sort of discovered through EO that what we really needed was a coach to point out the blind spots and mentor us, and tell us what it was that we needed to do to put these proper processes and systems in place. And then once we got that, which was 2015, we again never looked back, and we've scaled probably 5 times since. And we haven't done that at the expense of either our culture or profit. It's just been, we're truly blessed.
So how many people do you have now?
80 people, and we're set on our hiring roadmap to, I think, hire another 20 by the end of January.
Wow.
2020. Yeah, so we'll be 100 here soon.
It's like 3 months.
Yeah.
It's quick.
Yeah, we're adding them fast. And actually, I was just saying to one of the guys the other day and in the office that, that's another thing that we can be really proud of, because when you scale, the biggest challenge is damaging your culture, mm-hmm. right? What you've built, you don't want someone to come in and ruin that. So you have the old adage there, slow to hire, quick to fire. And we take a long time in hiring the right people and make sure that they're the right fit for us and that we're the right fit for them.
So what are the biggest things you've learned about hiring for fit in the last 9 years?
Take your time. Take your time and go through a process. Again, we use a hiring process called top grading. And we really take our time to get the applicants in. We give them a phone call. It's sort of a process where you're weeding people out along the way. You give them a phone call. You might end up with eliminating 25% after that point in time. Then you want to see if they're aligned in your chat with them, aligned with your core values. Then we have a coffee meeting with them. Actually, in between, we have them fill out a long process that would scare almost anybody away, along 10 sheets or so about their work history, their school history, what it is that they value, to see if our core values match up. Once we've looked at that, we set up a coffee meeting. From there, in the coffee meeting, we set up a full interview, which usually lasts about 2 to 4 hours. And so along the way, you can find out a lot about a person. And then the top grading process, if you know about it, is really designed to get people talking, get people telling you all about what it is that they like and they don't like about their supervisors and the places that they work and what they really want and what they really hold as their values and their purpose in a workplace.
Was that Vern Harnish?
That is not, I think it's Bradley Smart.
Okay.
And I believe his sons also wrote a book, sort of a follow-up, easier to understand model of that top grading. But Vern Harnish is sort of the founder of Entrepreneurs Organization, and actually one of the initial founders of EO itself, Entrepreneurs Organization. Okay. And his book, Scaling Up, is where a lot of these principles come from. And in that book, he suggests that one of the hiring methodologies that works for a lot of entrepreneurs is the top grading method. And so that's where it's from.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So when you transitioned from being a lawyer every day and working with clients into being a CEO, how did you facilitate that transition and how did you manage your time? Because I imagine it would have been a massive burden.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a balancing act. I mean, it was really getting back to being all about hiring great people and having great people around you, right? So the people that can take care of all of the things that you need taken care of, and the lawyers with the skills to take care of the day-to-day legal work, and the people who can really take care of my clients. Having said that, I still very much involved in day-to-day work. I am a lawyer at heart. I do, still do a lot of legal work, but mainly now I'm more of a visionary, creating what I want going forward for my team and my clients.
What advice do you have for new entrepreneurs starting out?
Yeah, it's an exciting question. I like that question. And, I could probably go on and on and on about that. I think first of all is put your client first. If you put your client first or your customer first, you can never go wrong. I think a lot of entrepreneurs get caught up in this sort of, especially lawyers in my case. I'm the one that knows everything. I'm the one that knows what to do. You listen to me type thing. Why did you hire me? And then it comes across as that sometimes, even in their language. And I think for any entrepreneur, if you do that, that's death. That's the wrong move. You've got to listen to your clients. You've always got to put them first. And if you do that, even when they're wrong and you're right, it'll pay you off 100 times over again. The second thing, and I think this is one of my favorites, is that really ego is the enemy. And I think that you and I've talked about this before when we've talked, and that is that you're always learning. You can learn from everybody in your life, in your personal life, in your business life, anywhere you go in life, just from listening. If you're one of these people that thinks that you know everything and that you don't make any mistakes, that's when things are going to start to go wrong. You have to be able to look outside what it is that you know and be able to continuously develop yourself, right? Mm-hmm. If you think of a business conference, for instance, you could say to yourself, you could have one sort of attitude or viewpoint where you're sort of saying, I don't need to go to that. I know everything. I've heard all of the business ways of scaling and everything else. And even in that scenario, you're still going to meet somebody that's going to teach you something or give you business or give you a new business idea at the conference, or you'll be reminded of the best practices when you see a speaker. You can think of it as sort of flexing your entrepreneurial muscle, right? Mm-hmm. You don't get big biceps in one day. You've got to work for years at that. And I'm personally a conference junkie. I like to go to 2 or 3 a year just to remind myself of the things that it takes to be a successful business owner.
It's interesting to hear that from somebody who's like at the top of the game, and really good to see, because I think it was more common in Lethbridge than it was here. I think people here are a little bit more forced to continually be learning and evolving because of the competition. But there's definitely a lot of older business owners that think they know the business in and out and just stick with that, and then eventually stagnate, and someone comes in who's evolving and learning and building better systems and processes that'll eventually overtake them.
That's right. No, it's a huge mistake to rest on your laurels, and there's been many examples in the past of successful business owners who refuse to sort of get with the times and get out of the way of their own ego, and it cost them dearly. So it's important to always be learning.
What advice do you have for people for finding a mentor?
Finding a mentor, I've always, from personal experience, I've always just been a type of guy who's not shy. It's always great to strike up a conversation. If you meet somebody that you admire or you hear someone that you admire, if they're an entrepreneur and they're doing it the right way and acting like a true entrepreneur and giving back to the community and giving back to the people that they work with, they're always going to have time for you. An easy way potentially could be joining an organization such as Entrepreneurs Organization or an accelerator program, which is a junior program to EO, to meet like-minded people and learn about what it takes to make a business tick. Other than that, it's probably just straight perseverance. If you have someone that you admire, call them up and say, hey, I wouldn't mind a few minutes of your time. And if they're good people, then they're going to give you that time. If they don't, then you probably don't want to talk to them anyway.
Yeah.
But most people are really great with their time, especially in Entrepreneurs Organization.
Have you had mentors that are outside of the legal field?
I mean, I certainly have people who I admire. I admire the drive of, some professional athletes and business owners and other businesses. So I try to look at what makes people successful in personal and family and business life and sort of copy them. I did mention my dad. I had a lot of, I learned a lot of business experience and ways of the world from my dad and sort of thinking outside the box and doing things your own way. All lawyers have mentors, and it's usually either their principal when they first start out articling or the lawyers that surround them, or, a lot of lawyers have dads or family members as lawyers. They use those people to lean on in terms of the challenges of the everyday practice and how to be a lawyer and what makes a lawyer successful. You get so busy doing that's maybe why, or probably why a lot of lawyers don't scale businesses, because you're so busy working in that day-to-day solicitor and barrister or litigation work that you just don't have an opportunity to think big picture in terms of how to scale a business like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could imagine it could be somewhat difficult to get out of their hat. And I imagine a lot of lawyers don't have interest in being entrepreneurs to a degree, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you spend so much time in law school learning how to be a lawyer and learning how to hone your craft that's really not the focus. How to be a business person. It's how to win the case, how to outsmart the other guy, how to be a lawyer, how to go to court in our case and litigate and win a case.
So what are your goals both personally and for the business in the next 5 to 10 years?
For the firm, it's really about continuing to grow. We think we're really passionate and purpose-filled about helping people. So I think that it's going to be in that capacity. We're really service-based and really love customer service. So I would imagine, I know that we're going to expand into other areas of the law. And we're also going to just take that customer service brilliance that our team can deliver and take that likely to some non-legal related business very soon. So anything goes in that regard, and we think that we know how to scale and we know how to provide a great brand of service. So that's what's up for the firm. In terms of personal, obviously family is first for me. I've got an amazing wife and a 12-year-old boy, and I focus on giving them great experiences in life. Traveling, I think it's very important to have your one-page personal plan, I call it, another Vernism, and make sure that I take care of the rituals and the health of my family, vacationing, and the things that we want and need in life and what we're looking forward to. And then personal fitness is a big one of mine. That's also part of my rituals and the things that I do to take care of myself, fitness-wise and also eating-wise. And making sure you get a lot of sleep.
Yeah. What do you do for fitness?
Fitness, I work out at a gym with one-on-one trainers, and I do boot camps mixed in between, but usually 3 to 4 times per week. And then I do a lot of walking and a lot of decompressing. That's not fitness, but it's important to, like I said before, get sleep and also make sure that you give yourself a break every once in a while and get away from everything. And a lot of my best thinking is done when I'm on vacation. Yeah. I also want to create a family legacy. Make sure that we're known as a business who gives a family business who gives people a great place to work and has above average pay and leading pay in our field, as well as great work in the community and helping out to make Calgary a great place and being a great citizen.
Do you find that the exercise helps quite a bit with managing stress?
Yeah. And I also think it's a misconception that that's the only thing that you need to keep wellness, personal wellness. I'm a big believer that you also need something to deal with the mental side of it. Working out alone won't, in my opinion, handle personal wellness. Again, I'll mention sleep. It's a huge one.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea to think that sleep isn't necessary and that you can get by on 6 or 7 hours of sleep. I sleep 8 or 9 hours every night, and it makes a huge difference. And it's also very important to decompress without electronics, unplug every once in a while. I spend a lot of time reading business books. I'm a nonfiction reader, so I'm always trying to do something that will move the needle in my life, in my personal life, my family life, and my business life. I find that helps a lot. Spending a lot of time with your family.
Yeah. In terms of sleep, do you find certain things negatively affect your sleep?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you eat late, all the cliches things that you hear about when you're a kid, you eat late, drink caffeine, things like that, those types of things can contribute to a poor sleep. And sometimes, it's unavoidable. Poor sleep is unavoidable if you've got a lot going on. You got 20 different things going on in your mind. And sometimes I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and I think of these 20 things that I've got to do. And then once I start thinking deeper into what that's all about, can't get back to sleep. It's over.
Yeah. Did you always try and get lots of sleep? Was that always something that you're cognizant of? Or did you eventually realize that you're a better performer on more sleep?
No, it's always been something that's important to me. It energizes you. It makes you look better. You don't look like, you wake up in the morning, get bags under your eyes and look like you just got up all day long. And it definitely carries you through, and it keeps your mental acuity up.
I think there's a lot of people that have trouble getting away from that stigma that if you're like an entrepreneur, you should only be sleeping like 5 hours a night kind of thing. And that's all you need. But I definitely know for me, I can't perform on that much sleep. I have to get.
Yeah, to me, that's just insane. I mean, I think that's something that you really need. And scientifically, I think it's proven that you need sleep for a multitude of reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for athletes, they say you should get 9-10 hours.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this series. I really appreciate it. I think that was some very valuable information.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys scale more and more.
Thanks a lot.
Cool. Thank you, Todd.
Pleasure. Take care.
Our first sponsor is Syndication, which is a video production company that I started. We do video production and online marketing for businesses of all sizes, ranging from solopreneurs to Fortune 500 companies. Our second sponsor is Gravity Cafe. They've been gracious enough to give us their space. The coffee's awesome. They have live music 3 nights a week. The beer's great. It's an awesome place to come hang out. Our next sponsor is Flagship Business Brokers. Flagship Business Brokers provides entrepreneurs with support through the purchase, sale, or financing of a business. They have a proven track record of delivering fast, cost-efficient, and client-focused transactions. Another sponsor of the Ambition Project is BusinessLink. BusinessLink is Alberta's entrepreneurial hub. They are a nonprofit organization that helps people navigate the steps towards starting their own businesses. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you're in business by yourself. BusinessLink's team of in-house startup experts are there to support you all along the way. Our next sponsor is the Better Business Bureau. Your BBB helps businesses build visibility, credibility, savings, leads, and community through BBB accreditation while funding free marketplace services with more than 1 million instances of service to consumers every year. Visit bbb.org/Calgary to learn more today.